We're going to kick off. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. This is another edition. This is episode 14 of Draw Me Anything. Hi, Bill. This is the bi-weekly now, bi-weekly live, Substack Live, where I take your requests for drawings and I draw them live. About halfway through the show, we have a guest, a very special guest today. He is a cartoonist. He's a fantastic cartoonist. He's someone I've been following his work for a long time. He's on Instagram. His Instagram is Chaz. He's got some of the funniest cartoons that I've ever seen. And I noticed recently that he just did a TED talk. So what a show off. I'm a big fan of his work, and I know you're going to be too. So without any further ado, please welcome to Draw Me Anything, Chaz Hutton, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Larry, what are you doing under the table? That is
I thought I was trying to work out the right angle to come from.
That was ridiculous.
Very strange, just sitting under the desk waiting for that intro. That was a very kind intro. Thank you so much.
Oh man, that's so funny. You're a show off, Chaz. Welcome. How are you, mate?
Isn't that the entire idea of drawing cartoons?
That's the entire idea. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
We have 50 people on the stream right now watching this idiocy for the next hour. I'm excited to have you on because I've wanted to talk to you for a long time. I only found out you were Australian this year. I had no idea you were Australian. So I started watching your TED talk. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Where are you from? Where in Australia are you from?
I grew up on a farm about 3 hours west of Melbourne.
Whereabouts?
Out near Hamilton, a tiny little town called Penshurst, which is about 250 people.
Wow.
But it's got a nursing home, so that's a fluctuating population.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Don't have Cuomo anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So I know where Hamilton is, but so you grew up there?
Yeah, I grew up there on a farm, and then I sort of went to school in Melbourne and then university. And yeah, I left about just over 10 years ago now. And I was in London for 2 years, New York for 10 months, which is I've always said not long enough to say I lived in New York, but long enough to know I didn't want to. And then Berlin after that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. I knew you were in New York. I didn't know how long for, because for a while there I thought you were based here. And
well, yeah, for 10 months. So if you can say that's that long. But yeah,
Right.
I loved it. I missed it a fair bit. But it was good. It was good. But essentially arrived and ran out of money, and then it's like, okay, I need a cheaper city.
That's never happened in New York before. You're the first one. So I wonder why you ended up in Berlin. You're in Berlin now.
I'm now sort of trying to move across the UK. So I'm in the UK at the moment at my girlfriend's house. And
you're in the UK?
Yeah, and so as of a few months ago. So in the process of trying to work out a visa to stay longer here, so the rigmarole of visas begins again.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, why Berlin? At the time.
Oh, hang on. My stream seems to be having a bit of an issue. 1 second.
Oh yeah, I can see that your internet connection is something or other.
1 second.
I'll turn that off. This is fun. All right.
I hope that's better. Yes. So you moved to London. Well, you're trying to move to London or somewhere in the UK because your girlfriend's place.
Yeah. So this is her much nicer office. If it was if it was where I usually work, it'd be a lot messier, believe me. But yeah, why Berlin? Berlin originally, I really like the time zone, and I realized I could get a visa there. There's
Wow.
a freelance artist visa, so you basically have to prove you're an artist, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then you'll get 1 to 3 years depending on um what they decide. So there's quite a few people there with that. So you've got sort of quite a number of creative people
That's cool.
getting about. Yeah, it's great. It's really great. Um,
Forgive me if I look too curious. I'm sure I'm on a list with Trump, so I'm just sort of looking at my options.
Might be the next option. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's pretty good. Although the rent's gone up a fair bit in the last sort of 7 years, so
I bet.
it's not quite as attractive as it used to be. But it was really nice actually. Like in the last couple of weeks I was there, I was just sort of selling all the stuff I didn't need.
Mm,
And you know that like it's like after 7 years in a city, it sort of you kind of sort of getting a bit sort of sad about leaving, like sort of thing.
mm.
And it's like, oh, it's changed, and I don't know, blah blah. Anyway, this young couple came to pick up my bed frame, and they said no worries on one of the messages. I'm like, eh. And then they rock up, I'm like, are you guys Aussie? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, it was just made me so happy because like they must have been like early 20s. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like new young people from Australia coming over and just sort of
Yeah.
like taking the baton on. And
Yeah.
it's like,
You
okay,
tagged
that's
out, tag
I
in.
can live yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like I can leave happy that the sort of process is still going, that, people are still getting excited about that city. But
Love
yeah,
that.
it's
That's
nice.
great. I don't know if you had this when you're in Europe at all. Like it's just one of those things where when you see other Australians abroad, I don't know.
Mm.
I kind of panic because I worry what kind they're going to because there are
Yeah,
great Australians. There are Aussies here who I love. Like I'll see them at the pub or wherever, and they're like great, and they've been here for a while, so they're
yeah,
not
yeah.
cringe. But some of them, it's like they're here on for holiday and they're just from Queensland or something. They're
I
just
think
like,
I think
it's
it's definitely the holiday sort of thing. And I always used to say
yeah,
like the difference between 10 days in New York. It's like 10 days in New York, you're like, oh my God, I'm on the subway.
yeah,
10 months in New York, you're like, oh my God, I'm on the subway. Like there's 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 just a subtle difference of like excitement. And I think perhaps the Australians you quite like seeing just like the rundown, jaded ones who aren't
yeah,
overexcited anymore. They just go and the ones who are a bit more quiet now. You can
yes.
always pick sort of like the well, maybe not in America, but like
No, no, for
especially in
sure, definitely.
but there's like especially in Berlin and stuff, you can always pick Australians who haven't been there long because they're just a little bit louder than they need to be.
Yep.
And you're like, hey, let's like bring it down. We're in
Yeah.
a cool candle lit bar. Everyone's whispering. Uh,
That
uh,
happened last night. I was at a comedy club and yeah, there were three Australians at the bar and they were just so loud and I'm like, yep, they're on vacation. Like immediately could tell. And even
yeah.
even from the dialect, I knew exactly.
I've lost you again. What's going on?
Sounds like an Insta
Hi.
Chaz cut. That sounds like a Chaz Hutton cartoon. But oh my God, I'm on the subway and oh my God, I'm on the
Yeah,
subway. Like
I
it's
need
such a
to do it.
great
Yeah,
it's perfect. Your your cartoons, honestly, like I can't even remember the first time they popped up on my I saw you on Instagram first and then I went to your website and I bought a bunch of stuff. I still have your book, your notebook, which is all the places I feel inspired to write. I I love that. It's I write in it when I'm outside.
that that's one of the first drawings I did on an iPad when I switched.
Ah,
And I was still trying to master it, and so I'm not happy with kind of it's really blobby sort of the text
no,
is
it's
not
good. I
doesn't
like it.
feel I know it's fine to anybody else to get it, but like
Yeah, yeah,
every time I say that I'm like I need to redraw that one.
yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you've got that.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I got some prints, and there's the great one. There's a whole bunch of great stuff in your store. Everyone, if you don't already follow Chaz, click that subscribe button next to his name up the top, and also,
Might actually
yes,
inspire me to do something on Substack.
yeah, to do with the Substack. It's interesting because, like, I always talk to like cartoonists. we talk about what are you doing, how what work are you doing, what
Yeah.
platforms are you on, all that sort of stuff. Because some cartoonists are really big on Instagram. I know you're pretty big on Instagram.
Yeah.
There are some cartoonists who are big on Patreon, like have a big Patreon following. Some are big on Substack, and there's never like a one size fits all approach. There's like a three sizes fits none approach. Like it's just there's always these different things popping up. But I do notice this interesting migration away from social media to Substack, where like Liana Fink
Yeah.
and Telnays and like cartoonists who they already have a voice and a following and everything, but they're like just so sick of the noise. Like their comment sections are a garbage fire on
Yeah.
Instagram and stuff. So they're just like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm getting out of here. So they like come to Substack and it's like a little less insane.
I I my comment section's stayed pretty solid over the years.
Mm.
And it's only when like a big kind of meme account like sort of steals one of my comics and puts it up.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
then I see all the shitty comments. I'm like, ah. So like
Mm.
I've clearly got my Instagram following is clearly sort of well behaved or like hasn't
Yeah.
hasn't hasn't broken out to be big enough where you've soaked up a lot of that sort of usual angry internet commenter community.
And I feel like
Um,
meme accounts have a lot of bots too. So
yeah, well, yeah, there's that as well. But
that's
yeah, I definitely, I mean, I didn't have an actual sort of portfolio website up until about 2 years ago
that's
because I was
insane.
getting most of my work through Instagram, through
Yeah.
brands approaching me there, and there's obviously been a bit of a fall off, and
Mm.
and so it's only the last 2 years where I've gone, I should probably sort of build a house before this other one blows down.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that
Yeah,
that fall off is like everyone's talking about. I got friends on Instagram who have like hundreds of thousands of followers. Some of them
yeah,
like real like I got friends with a couple of friends with like in the millions, and they're like their engagement is just tanked,
yeah,
like
yeah.
because no one's seeing stuff they post. It's why it's just getting like
It's
shadow banned or whatever.
it's weird. Occasionally something breaks through, and so
Yeah, you never know.
back in the day, I'd get sort of just like around 10,000 likes. Oh, it's complaining so much.
Good 10,000 likes. Oh, boo.
But nowadays it's sort of the average is around 2,000. But then every now and again there'll be 70,000, and no in between. It's like it's sort of it looks like they'll let one go and it goes viral. Or
Just
maybe
to
they
keep you
I
hooked.
don't know.
Just
I
it's like a
don't
slot machine. They're like, oh yeah, keep
know.
posting. One of
Yeah.
them
I'll get
might
I'll
hit.
get I'll get a 70,000 this time there.
Yeah,
Completely
yeah,
sucked in.
yeah. And I don't. I mean, I kind of abandoned it a while ago. I pretty much all I post on Instagram now is just like pictures of my dog and then promotion stuff for my Substack,
Same.
whatever I'm doing in Substack. But it gets buried because as soon as there's a link that goes off site, any link to
Yeah.
Substack is just like, we're not going to show anyone that. They just bury it.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
That's why.
Of
So I have to
course.
post other stuff like in stories,
Yeah.
like a picture of my dog, a New York thing. Got my Substack, another New York thing. Like just like
Yeah.
sneak it in there between other
I
stuff.
f- Half of me I just can't be bothered starting another
Yeah,
platform,
I know it's
to be
ridiculous.
perfectly honest.
I know it's like a job. Like we this job no one signed up for, and yet
Yeah,
we're all doing it for free.
yeah. I just want to draw stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the dream is that someone does that for me, all that crap, and I never even have to look at it, and I just get to sit at my drawing board and draw all day. Did you
But
like when you started out? You're in like country Victoria. I was in country Western Australia when I started out, so I like disappeared into my drawings and was just like a weird
right.
little quiet kid just drawing all day. Were you like that when you growing up?
Uh yeah, yes and no. I mean, I studied architecture.
Wow,
So I didn't really
a
start the
real job.
drawing. I didn't really start the drawing thing until I moved to London. So, I mean,
Wow.
obviously, I'd always sort of, doodle and stuff, but I wasn't doing cartoons kind of seriously until I moved to London and just started drawing stuff on sticky notes, and that's how it sort of
Ah,
started.
yes.
Yeah. So that
I
was
think I
probably
have that book somewhere here. I have that book.
yeah.
I got it.
That came out about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I started on sticky notes, and like that sort of that blew up. I went from like what was it? It was something like 6,000 to 60,000 followers in a week, and then 80,000 the week
What?
after.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
God.
So I
That's
think like
crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. BuzzFeed and HuffPost both did stories on the Instagram sort of within hours of each other. And I don't think
Nice.
the other one would have bothered if they'd been beaten by each other. And so then it ramped up, and then I got a book deal off the back of that.
That's great.
And what's crazy is that that was off the back of like 80,000 followers. It's like, countless cartoonists and people doing much better work than me have more than 80,000 followers. And like, I think it was a very particular time where there weren't that many accounts doing that kind of thing with that amount of following or, you know, and so like, and I think also at a time where publishers were like, "Oh, this will mean book sales," which I don't think
Yeah.
does. Maybe
No, it
it's
doesn't.
like a big following doesn't correspond, but they didn't
Yeah.
know that then. So I was very lucky with the timing, and then after that, I just never went back. Sort of kept doing it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that was a pretty insane time.
Yeah. Well, that's such a funny because that time, the 2010s, was such an interesting
Yeah,
time when it still. I feel like that was peak Instagram, like 2010 to 2020, before it just became this heaping garbage fire of algorithmic.
yeah.
Like before
All right,
before
all
Facebook.
right, Mr. Substack, fucking chill out.
No, I just mean like because I was on there all the time. I was posting constantly, and I was like 20. What was it coming to like 2012? It was really like a thing. Everyone was
Yeah,
kind of joining, and then it just kind of had this nice kind of we're all going over here now.
yeah,
And I found most of my favorite cartoonists on Instagram. Honestly, like I
yeah.
was like,
So
oh, never heard of this person,
yeah.
and it was good. Like I had this, like I was following a lot of my favorite people, and they would show up organically. It wasn't like an algorithmic
Well,
thing that would just by time.
I, it's funny, isn't it? Like I think early on I followed a lot of sort of similar Instagram. I'll call them Instagram cartoonists, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So it was just sort of
yeah, yeah.
not established cartoonists, but people just kind of drawing a fun little thing. And then it's only much later on that I've sort of like slightly kind of tapped into or discovered that very extensive kind of New Yorker affiliated cartoonist sort of world, which is like, you'd be a part of
Mm,
that and like all these others. And it's like they've two very different schools, I think. And I feel very much of the former, where I've had a couple of New Yorker things back in the day, but very much in my own style rather than sort of
mm,
anything that you'd count as a New Yorker comic.
mm.
But yeah, I find it interesting the way sort of yeah, those two very different types of cartoonists have kind of ended up in the same place to a degree.
Yeah. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
interesting, like webcomic cartoonists and traditional published.
yeah, that's a better
Yeah,
way to describe it. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
uh,
I think, I look at your stuff and it's got such a universality to it. Like you could put it anywhere and it works, I think. I mean, it works it's amazing on Instagram, but like, no matter where you put it, really, like it just works,
yeah,
like it's good like that.
it's not
The style and everything. Yeah.
it's not that versatile when you need sort of specific facial expressions. When when your characters are basically just a circle with two eyes, but I'll work with what I've got.
That's the challenge.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you ever
yeah.
read Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics?
No. See, this is the
So
thing.
he has.
I should have done more research before actually sort of taking this on as a career.
Yes. It's all right. I didn't read Understanding Architecture either. It's fine. There,
Right.
there was a point in the book where he kind of breaks it down, where it's like the fidelity of or symbolism or abstractness. It's like an abstractometer. And it's like,
Hold on. I think I have seen this. It's a
yeah,
whole table from like realistic
yeah, from
to
like
figurative.
perfect
Yeah.
sketch, perfect fidelity down to like just a circle with two dots and yeah, that's him.
I remember
Yeah.
being shown that at like in high school at like art class.
Oh,
Sort
wow.
of a yeah. Like I
Huh.
think it's that old, or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, no,
I don't
it's
know.
been around for a long time. It's the Bible of
Okay, yeah,
comics, I guess. Like it's done a sequel. But yeah, it's one of those things that I always sticks in my head that it's harder to get an emotion and expression with less lines, but people
mm,
identify with it more because they imbue themselves with this, like they
yeah,
put themselves in the character. It's like why Charlie
yeah,
Brown is such a because he's literally just like a couple of dots and
yeah,
like people were like, oh, I feel so much like this kid. It's because it's the
yeah,
least amount of expression, so you feel more
yeah.
empathy or whatever. I don't know. There's a psychological bullshit thing behind it. Um, yeah, so I noticed the thing. It kind of makes sense that you're trained as an architect as well. I used to rent a desk on Madison Avenue at an architect's firm because I like the idea of like having a commute and going to a place to do a
Yeah,
thing. It's the only time I've really had that. Otherwise, I've always just worked in a
so
studio.
good. I
But
miss
they
commuting.
yeah, I mean, it was a real like bustly thing because there were a lot of interns like Columbia
Yeah,
grads or like people who were studying architecture who were in their like fourth year or whatever it was. It's a long degree, and who are like working in an office, and they all work ridiculous hours, and they're just like so upset. Like their whole world is that, and New York is
yeah,
such a architects. You can get away with some pretty cool stuff here, I guess. I don't know what London and Berlin is like these days, but it's like there's still some pretty out there, crazy designs
yeah.
that
I
they've
mean,
been
yeah.
mucking around with here.
Oh yeah, no, New York's amazing for architecture. It's the old Whitney. That's the one.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, yeah, with those ceiling lights and stuff. Ah, love it. I think it's a restaurant now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Mm. Um,
The thing that I noticed in your work is your ability to kind of draw the eye with like negative space. You seem to have an understanding of that, whether it's innate or not. It's just like you
okay.
know not to fill every single thing with like cross hatching and all, like you just have it's a very direct style.
I,
Like you
I,
you
wo-
only have what's there and nothing else. What's needed,
I wonder if that's intentional or just laziness on my part. But like, there's there's
I'm gonna say
definitely
laziness. Just I'm not gonna give
yeah,
you
yeah,
any
yeah.
credit now.
I was using what's the it's one of the new Adobe ones where it's like um Fresco or something. I don't know, but they've got all the cross
Oh yeah.
hatching.
Fresco. Yeah.
They got all the cross hatching stuff. And so
Mm.
I did a comic as a patent for rollable graves. All right. So
I
you can
love that. That's a really
continue to
funny
be
comic.
disappointed after death. Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I wanted to put it in that patent style, I was like doing all the kind of meticulous cross hatching and stuff. I was like, oh, it feels like I'm drawing a real comic for once. Like I'm actually having to put in a bit more sort of effort into shadowing and detail, and especially
Yeah.
if you're working with just with black and white as well,
Right.
you need to up your game a bit with texture and shadowing and that kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed doing that for once.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, it actually turned out really good. I was just looking at that cartoon this morning, and
Oh yeah,
it's one of my favorites. That's yeah. On if anyone after this go to Chaz's Instagram, Insta Chaz, and just look up the self-rolling, the grave, be disappointed after your death. It's a classic patent style sketch. The Speaking of drawing, so about halfway through these, I flipped the camera. Welcome to everyone who's come
yeah.
in since we started. And I just kind of scribble away. If you have any requests, so DMAs draw me anything. So if you have any requests of stuff that you want drawn, just put it in the chat. Have a think now. Put it in the chat. And I feel like I find that I concentrate better when I'm drawing. Oddly enough, rather than just the camera looking at my dumb face. But if you want to draw as well, I no pressure at all. If you want to draw as well, you can draw with me.
Um,
Otherwise, absolutely fine
well,
not to.
no. Okay, because I've seen you draw, right? And your style is it's very like quick and blah, blah. Because mine is so meticulous in terms of like these perfect little circles and stuff. The
Yeah.
speed at which I draw is the most boring thing to watch. And also, I'm like crouched and hovered over the page, so you're just gonna see the like top
Yeah.
of my head or like. So look, I'll try. I'll refrain for now. But I do have a comic that I sketched
You do?
out. Yeah,
Oh, great.
if you want to try this though, and like it's New York. I sketched this one out ages ago,
Yeah.
and I really, when there's like all the bird watchers in Central Park, and
Yes. Yes.
there'll be some like really rare bird or whatever. They've all turned up.
Yep.
So hold on, I'll turn this around. So the capture for this one is hundreds of birds descend on Central Park to catch sight of a particularly rare bird watcher. If you can see that.
It's a flip. I like
And
it.
then, yeah, and then just have one bird watcher with a whole bunch of birds going, check this guy out. Um, and yeah, so if you, you don't have to do that, obviously.
No, I like that idea. I like
This
that
is
idea.
fun. But
We just had a request in the chat from Margaret. What was it? It was a talking bouquet of flowers. Wow. I wish I had the imagination to come up with some of these requests.
do I?
I'm going to draw that birdwatcher one with you.
Yeah.
If you, I like that idea. I like the idea of any flip. So I'm going to
Hold on.
flip my
How do you?
camera.
Let's. I want to see how you do this first, and I'll see if I can do it. Mm. It's almost like
Um,
we should have worked this out before we actually went live. Hey.
I I have
Hold on.
no ability to be organized at all. All I know is we're going live at 11.
I
That's
think
my
I'm gonna have.
organization.
I think I'm gonna have to switch sides of the desk for this.
Okay. I
Well,
don't even know if my camera can focus. There we go. It's focusing on these ends.
yeah. I'm looking.
Um,
I'm sorry to
I
everyone
don't.
who's looking at my life. Hey, how do I flip this thing? Oh, here we go. Alrighty.
There we go. There we go.
We are so professional. Oh god, that is a really dirty screen.
Profesh.
I don't know about this.
Oh, this works. This works.
Yeah,
We've actually
hold on.
we've had so many bird watching requests before, actually, in the past, which is interesting.
I'm going to get that more effect because I'm drawing off a tablet. So this is oh no, where's my little now you're going to see my very cool drawing glove.
Do you have the Michael Jackson?
No, I've got this
The
one.
one of these?
I've got more of a
Nice.
Misfits one. Yeah, I love it.
A
It's great.
Misfits one. That's great. Oh my God. That's so
Hold on, what have I
funny.
got here? I need some. Can everyone? Oh, sorry about all the my screen wobbling around. Jeez, this is great. This is just great. Um, your
I'm
screen
trying to want
was
I want
yeah.
my camera to like not
What
be
was
blurry. I want it to just like
what? This
focus,
is
but you
so
know.
hectic. What was the other request? A
Oh yeah. So
talking.
the other guest we had a couple. So it was a dinner party hosted by Forks and Knives and
Oh,
a talking bouquet of flowers. I feel like a dinner party hosted by Forks and Knives
yeah, I could
that's
do
right
that.
up your alley.
Yeah, that is actually. Look at this. We need a table. All right. This is mine are going to be quite messy.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
because
that's good. Messy's good.
I'm sort of like I'm
I'm
kind
gonna
of so as you can see, this is a table. Bloody hell, such a professional. Okay, let's give it some thickness. Look at that. Whoa, we got a real table. Okay, knives and forks here. How do you do a fork again? Uh, I can never draw
I'm
forks.
gonna get
Forks
my
have.
ink.
Do you know what? Forks have
Oh,
two.
aren't they the worst to draw?
You know
Truly
what?
the worst to
Really,
draw. Forks
I
and
forgot.
bikes.
I've forgotten to put this on. Oh, I can draw bikes.
You can draw
Um,
bikes?
oh
Brag.
yeah. No, okay. There's a whole medium thing I did on
Oh,
how to
really?
draw a bike. Yeah. And it's like I've made it funny. And over the course of this how to draw article, I completely stuff it up deliberately. But
That's
look,
great.
okay, this is how you draw a bike. Oh God, now I'm under. Now I've said this. Triangle,
Yeah.
triangle, and then instead of a third triangle, you just do that. Wheel, wheel,
Ah,
handlebar, seat. Look at this. Look, this is educational now. That
wow.
oh
I'm impressed. I honestly, that's the most impressive thing I've ever seen in my life. I've had a very sheltered life. That's amazing. Big fan of that. That's
that's
great.
that's one thing I can right. Let's
Who
get
says
this
you never
thing
learn
here.
anything on these draw me anythings?
That's right. Okay. I'm still trying to draw a okay. Oh no, low battery. That's not supposed to happen.
It's never supposed to happen, but it
Wait,
does.
why? I thought I was plugged in here. Oh yeah, there we go. Good, we got the charge. Okay, this is the slowest dinner party drawing that anyone's ever drawn, but we're getting
That's not
there.
true. That's absolutely not true. There's definitely been slower. I
Really?
guarantee it. I guarantee it. Yeah.
See,
Um,
I don't know. Okay, by the way, I don't know how you draw. Like, well, I I don't know how to draw. Oh, look at your man. That is fantastic.
this is
I
Birdwatcher
love that.
guy.
So, you went. I've been too busy on my table. You've gone pencil first, and then some pen over the top. Hey, can we talk about the pen you use? Because I've seen them,
Yeah, sure.
and they look like prison shivs, and I want to know. how will that work?
They look like
Like they're
fish
always
and
wrapped
chips.
up. They do. They're always wrapped up with
Yeah,
tape. And what?
that's true.
Yeah, look at this.
I know. This looks like a weapon, doesn't it?
Okay,
Looks like
but
I'm in the prison yard about to,
do
kill
they have ink
someone.
inside them, or do you dip them in ink? How
No,
does
they're
that work?
dip pens. So I have a
The dip
dip pen.
pens.
I have
Oh my gosh.
a captain. What do you call it? A captain's inkwell, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, and it has, yeah, like just Higgins ink in it. And then, yeah, you dip.
What ink?
And then
Higgins ink.
I use one of these as the dip pen called a Hunt 101 Imperial. But I clipped the end off
Okay.
because it was a little bit too long and I didn't like the weight of it, the balance of it.
Yeah.
So I have this, and it's wrapped as well, just because I don't know, I didn't want it to be too slippery, so I wrapped it in masking tape. I don't know, just like it's just like every tool is like rigged and jimmied to like whatever. Like this one is made by Dan Berry. He's a cartoonist in the UK, and he makes his own bronze dip
Oh,
pens,
that's beautiful.
and it's yeah, it's like, and it's amazing. The lines you can get with this thing are ridiculous. I mean, it
How
is a
does it
bit of a
hold? How
crapshoot.
does it hold ink though? Like it
So
soaks
the
inside it. Does it?
yeah, so instead of the tines being like these little split things here,
Yeah.
it's basically like a split in the middle
Okay,
here
I thought so.
along
Yeah,
the top.
yeah, I can
So
see that.
so you dip it, and you can get this line variation where like if you bring it over to the page, you've got like um you can have like really fine like lines on this side of it, right? But then if you want to do like a nice big fat unhinged just like
Yeah.
line, you can just go nuts with these like with it's and I like a it's kind of like what do you call them, a chisel tip? Like you can get some nice like consistent
Yeah.
lines, but also you're throwing a lot to fate as well. You're just like figuring it out as you go, and you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Today I'm going to be Quentin Blake.
But there's yeah, right. Or like just spill the whole inkwell and go sort of
A
rough seven.
100%. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I've
but I
always
love it.
kind
I
of
love
wondered
this
that
pen.
when I've always wondered that when I've seen those pens.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, they don't hold. It depends on the pen, but this is a Hunt 101 Imperial. It's my favorite nib.
Okay.
I
It's a
discovered this
great
through
name.
Richard Thompson. Yeah, it's very old. It's used for calligraphy and like writing and all that crap. But
Yeah.
I and I like doing that. I like trying to get good at that, but I'm not good at that. Um, but yeah, there's a nice kind of I want to say like measured chaos to it. So like
Yeah.
you definitely have some control, but you have to cede a lot of like control just to the universe. Okay, you know what? Whatever mark this makes, I'm just gonna have to
Yeah.
go with it. So yeah, it's kind of it's a study in getting out of my head and being a perfectionist and being like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with whatever this pen tells me it wants to be.
Well, it's funny the perfectionist thing. It's like
Yeah,
it strangles me sometimes. Like I can't sort of even
same.
start. I start on a thing, and so
Yeah.
what I'll do, especially on the iPad, is I'll just sketch it out, and
Hmm.
then essentially just fine tune the sketch. Like go back over on another layer.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and like it's the only way I can get my head around it. And eventually, an image starts to emerge. Um,
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, it's a good way to do it. I think sketching it out. There's like a Picasso quote. God, I'm gonna get all high minded here. Something about the willingness to figure things out as you go is often the only difference between those who achieve difficult things and those who never begin. Picasso
oh,
observed, to know what you're going to draw, you have to begin drawing. God, what a line. That's fucking yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I went to the Picasso Museum in Paris and just spent the whole day there and just like vacuumed up every little
okay.
detail I could.
So
Oh,
here's
look
my
at
dinner party. Yeah. It's like I don't approve. Gran, don't be Spoonist.
this. Look who's coming.
Yeah, oh, it is a bit, isn't
Wow,
it?
that's funny. That's funny. Don't be spoonist.
It wouldn't be
That's very
Spoonist though,
funny.
would it? It'd be utensilist. I don't know.
Oh my God. Yeah, utensilist. Oh my God. That's so funny. Good
Thanks.
gag.
Good
Great,
gag.
great drawing. Do you ever like come up with stuff like you'll be out and about or whatever, and then you just come up with something and you just panic that you're going to forget about it? Do you write stuff down?
Um, yeah, no, I email myself.
Ah, nice one.
Yeah. So, that's my usual, and then like there'll be just some sort of indecipherable thing in the email.
Yeah,
What are the other? Oh, I love these birds. Look at that.
and just
But
observing this.
bird beaks are hard, aren't they?
They are hard. I know. I've really drawn
You've
myself
nailed
into a
them,
corner
obviously.
here.
No,
I don't know. I'm still.
what was the other requests? I'm ready for
So we
another one.
had, yeah, a fork and a knife dinner party.
Love
Um,
that.
yep. And Ernio over here is a big fan of your Misfits glove. Um,
Ah, sick.
yeah. The other one that we have. Oh, but Scott Citron said, which drawing app are you using? Is that Fresco
Oh,
or
no,
Procreate? What is it?
this is just Photoshop.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
yeah, but here's the thing. One of the built-in, I know I could find better pens, but one of the built-in pens is a rough inker, and it
Ah,
works.
nice.
And it's like it's so similar to like the way I draw, to
Mm,
what I'm used to. Like it's just, there's a bit of bleed on the line there you can see, but
yeah, look at
ended
that.
up, yeah. And like the thing is, I should use Fresco because I think it's a bit more powerful, but
Right.
for everything I do, I'm sort of using like 3% of the capabilities of the program, which is a terrific
That's
waste of
fine. If
money.
you can
But
do that, it's great. Nothing wrong
yeah,
with that.
so that's what I'm using. So what were the other requests?
So a talking bouquet of flowers. I feel like this is another Chaz
That's
Hutton. I
that's a
feel like
tough
this is
one, isn't it?
another potential
This is the
gag
other
for
thing.
you.
Like, I don't know how to draw a flower bouquet of flowers. Yes, I can draw a bouquet of flowers. What? We start like this, don't we? Look at that. Look
If you
at
can't
that.
draw a bouquet of flowers, rack your cue. That's
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know what?
this.
I've already stuffed it up. Don't look at my screen. Uh,
That's funny.
is that what you're supposed to start with, cartoon wise? A rack of flowers.
You rack your flowers.
Sorry, I saw Racky Q. I'm confusing my everything. Okay. A talking.
Have you ever like been tripped up with because you've lived in so many places now and country Victoria has so many great colloquialisms. My family, my dad's side of my family are from Altona. And
Right.
so I grew up sort of between Perth and Melbourne and lived in Melbourne for 6 years. And I picked up, especially from my uncle Greg, so many colloquialisms and weird little sayings that I thought everyone said and then realized, oh wow, that's
Oh
just an
yeah.
Uncle Greg thing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's so many and they're pretty good and they do the job for like I remember if someone was like dressed very ostentatiously and crazy, my Uncle Greg would be sitting in his ute just looking out the window and he'd nudge me and go, "Look at this dickhead! Looks like he fell out of a fucking Christmas tree." Like it was the perfect
Um.
thing.
For me, it's not so much sayings, but having an English girlfriend, this comes up a lot. Like
Ah,
I don't know.
yes,
I say stuff like, you know, oh, I think like there's a bottle of wine or something. She's like, is there any wine left? And I'm like, oh, there's a skerrick. All right.
it's scary.
Yeah. And she's like, a what? I'm like, a little bit. She's like, that is not a thing. And I'm like,
Yes,
it
it
isn't.
is.
Yeah, then I had to look it up. Because
Yep.
then, like, the other alternative is like, is it just something my mother has decided to say? Like,
Yes.
and and nobody else says it. I've assumed everybody does.
Right.
So yeah, and then you always look it up, and it's like the definition is like colloquial Australian New Zealand.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, that happened this morning. I was talking to someone and it was, I used the word POM, to describe a
Oh
British
yeah,
person.
this. Hold on.
And they were like, what's a POM? And then they're like, oh, great. Derogatory
Oh
Australian and New Zealand slang for an English person. Like, oh, yeah, sorry.
yeah.
I didn't know everyone didn't say that. Also, there's a great one that Uncle Greg used to use for someone who gets kind of full of themselves, like an egotist who's
Oh
really
yeah.
like, braggadocious and whatever. They'd say, mate, this guy drinks his own bathwater. Just
Oh,
it's, that's a, it sounds like what it is. It just perfectly fits.
I can't think of anything for this bouquet of flowers to say. Oh dear. Well, hold on, where are they? But I've done some flowers. Look, how's that?
That's solid. That's a solid bouquet. That is
Oh my,
a.
look at the birds. I love this. This is great.
This is going to be so many birds by the end of this.
Okay, I need
The
to think. Yeah, go on.
Well, there was a request in the chat: London
Yep.
pigeon versus NYC pigeon. I feel like that'd be very particular. Like you would have
Yeah, I've
particular
got that.
expertise
I
in.
got that. Hold on.
Yeah, that's great. No, yep, I've got this one. Stand back.
I need to draw. I need to draw a pigeon. I've drawn
Yeah, now you
pigeons. Oh, see, it's so
now you have
hard.
to.
See, here's what happens. I start with the head, and then I go the
Yeah,
beak, and then nothing looks right. Where's the eye going? That looks like a lamp. Oh, see, that's not.
drawn a
No,
bouquet
no.
of pigeons.
Oh, that's better, is it? Mm,
There you go. Yeah, that's
uh,
great.
yeah, we're
I mean, you're
getting
so
there.
hard on yourself.
Look.
Such a
Oh,
perfectionist.
there we go. Pigeon done. Need
Yeah, it's
to-
true. New Yorkers are very particular about their pigeons. I mean, it's very they it's so funny because they domesticated them, like they needed them for
Well,
so long and now they just don't need them anymore, so they're just hanging around.
I feel so sorry for pigeons in that regard. It's sort of like, just walking around with a sack of Betamax tapes going, anybody want to watch something? Like, okay, here's a pigeon here. I was coloring in a pigeon, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
go on.
So, yeah, yeah. Um, um, but I was using it on paper, old school, like you.
Yeah,
I was like, I had all the markers and I was looking through the markers and I was like, oh, that's a perfect pigeon color. And I looked on the
yeah,
lid, it was like pigeon blue. I'm like, nailed that.
classic. You've absolutely nailed that.
Now, what do we got here? I need a wing. Wing, wing, wing. Right, are you working? There we go.
There we go. This is
Uh,
a whole new level of bird watcher watching, ornithology. There's something there in your gag. This guy, the bird watcher being watched. Who
yeah.
watches the watchers?
Oh, that's great. That's even
There you
better,
go.
especially with his facial expression.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's just like paranoid. There's got to be some.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, I always liked the thing I liked most about Mad Magazine was the chicken fat, what they called chicken fat, which are like little background gags or additional gags that were like hidden,
Okay.
and it's so I always like add in a little something just for shits and giggles. But yeah, I like that. There you go, little bird
Here's
watching
here's
watches.
here's a good thing about working on the iPad.
Mm.
I've decided this guy needs to be the other way.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you can't do that on with this.
Yeah.
Scott Citron said, "P.S. Fresco is very powerful."
Yeah, it looks it. Too powerful for this guy. Uh, I just need to spend the time on it. Like
Yeah, right, right, right.
so it's like a learning curve kind of thing. And I'm like, do I have time for a learning curve, or do
Mm.
I just need a few, like, yeah, I just need to bite the bullet and do it. I said the same thing about switching from drawing to an iPad in the first place.
Yeah.
Um,
Wait, do you
so
do an underlayer like an under? Keith is saying on the digital pad, is there a mode for underdrawing or like a pencil rough underneath?
yeah,
So I guess you do on a layer beneath, right?
yeah. So look, I can just do another layer. I don't know if you can see on the side there. Wait, there we go.
Right,
So I can do another new layer there, and then I can just turn this layer down and then draw over
right,
the top of that. But
right.
because we're drawing fast and dirty here, I'm not going to bother.
Fast
Got
and
another,
dirty.
got another pigeon to draw.
This is the job. This is what we signed up for. Do
Oh,
you have stuff that you've been working on? Like, what sort of projects are you working on right now? Because I know you do collaborations and brand stuff sometimes. You had a
yeah,
friggin' TED talk, which is insane. It was great, by the way. It was a good
yeah.
talk.
Well, hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It was TEDx, so it
Yeah,
wasn't the.
well, okay. It's still
We'll
TED.
still count it. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? I like. Look, I love and sort of. It was really great to do. But what's really
Mm.
frustrating is when you watch it, you can't hear the
What, the
audience laughing.
laughs?
Yeah,
Yeah, they
so
don't like the audience.
a lot of a few of the most moments in that talk really relied
Yeah,
on hearing the audience, and because you can't, it
yeah,
sounds like I'm just talking to an empty room. So that was a bit upsetting.
totally.
And then I did another one at Google a bit afterwards, which was sort of more of a
Oh
lecture.
wow.
Which
Yeah,
yeah, and they sent me the video for that, so I could actually go through and
pipe the laughs
isolate.
in
No,
post.
I isolated the laughter and turned up the track a bit.
Nice. You know what they
That was
call that in
funny.
comedy? Sweetening it in post.
I also put some fake crowd banter at the start, so it sounds like there's a lot of people waiting for
Oh,
me to talk. Not true. There was like
brilliant.
20 Google employees.
No one will
How's that
ever
sound?
know.
Right, hold on. I need to focus on writing something. Hold on.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah, because I saw when I saw the dead talk. Here's the thing: when I in comedy, when you try to book gigs, they're like, "Do you have a tape?" And the important thing about a tape isn't just that they see your material, but they see you're getting laughs, right? They're like, "Well, are you getting what kind of laughs are you getting? Are you getting a lot? Are they the right
well,
kind?"
you have to send in a
And you know,
tape.
because always, yeah, yeah. The tape is the main, like, unless you're auditioning and they go like, you know, get up and do a set and
Yeah.
we'll watch you, which does also happen. You
And
can do an audition set.
what was this for?
So it's stand up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, can we talk about
Yeah.
your stand up? How long have you been doing that? Because I did a bit of open mic in New York, which
Oh,
was,
really? How'd you go?
yeah, well, it's like a blind person doing archery. I was having a great time and I, you know,
Great analogy.
okay, so like I get off stage, I'm like, I reckon 70% of that was pretty good. And then like
You listen back.
3 or 4 years later, I was having a shower and I just remembered it all. I went, oh God, it was like 5% at best. But I really enjoyed doing it. And if I stayed in New York, I would have kept doing it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
When did you start? Where are you doing it? How long have you been doing it? Tell me everything.
Well, I started doing it back in Perth in 2007. I got lucky because
Oh,
I
really?
had like friends of mine from high school who I was still like friends with after we graduated, they would do, you know, some of them would do improv and the others would do stand up. And I would just go to shows and it would
Yeah.
really appeal to me because it was jokes. I mean, my whole brain is just like wired for writing jokes and I would love to see them like figure it out and then watch the same sets over and over again to see how they change them. And it was a real like, I guess the hang as well afterwards, after the show, I felt like such an
Yeah.
interloper hanging out and
Love
being like,
that.
oh, I'm not a comic. I can't hang out with these guys. Um, and I learned more, I think, from the hang than from the show, to be honest with you, because they're all like punching up each other's bits and adding tags, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know, they're like,
I
oh, what about this?
when I was just doing sort of open mics around New York, it was great. It was like there'd be like 3 or 4 in a night, and so you'd just be bouncing from one
Yeah,
to another. And
yep, yep.
me and this guy who I'd met sort of doing these little open night things, we we both bombed pretty bad. So we're out the front, and he's like, "Oh man, there's like there's a midnight set at Creek in the Cave, is it? Up in like
Oh, the creek. Wow,
yeah yeah
that
yeah
was a
yeah."
scene. That was a
Yeah,
scene.
he's like, there's a midnight set. We might be able to make it if we jump on the six now. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And we're like trading
Wow,
bits to each other, like on the train. I was like, it was really cool. We got there and
I
everyone had like
love that.
3.5 minutes. It's a lot of fun.
So,
Here's my UKV,
love it.
um, uh, New York, London v New York Pigeon. Look, it's a cheap gag, but that's what I'm going for.
So we got the
Uh,
on the left, we've got the British
yeah,
pigeon saying, "You know we can fly, right?" And on the right, it's just, "Well, I'm walking here."
I do. What comedian is it talking about pigeons? Is like I feel like pigeons have a limited number of wing flaps, and they're very keen not to use them. So
That sounds wow. Uh,
I think it's Daniel Kitson. But
kids, it
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
very Kitson-esque, very
does,
absurd.
doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Sorry,
Daniel
my
Kitson. He's
camera's
hilarious.
banging all over the place here. Right,
I
what's
was used
another
to
of
watch him
those?
at Melbourne
Oh,
Comedy Festival.
oh yeah, he was
Yeah,
great. He used to do the
we've got
secret
about
shows.
yeah, those secret shows, and then he would like put an ad in the festival guide that was just like an essay and nothing to
Yeah.
do with what we didn't know where he was going to be, what time. It was just a random musing that he'd just
Right.
written out. He was such a weird dude. I love it.
Oh yeah, you're
So
asking what I was working on. Wait,
yeah,
looking
yeah,
at.
I was keen on where you're working on. Yeah, yeah.
I'm doing. I don't know if I can talk about that one yet. But I'm working on a book with someone.
Oh, cool.
Which is
Nice.
yeah, but it's like
What's the book?
look, it's all sort of economics and business stuff, but interesting. And anyway, there's a
Boo. I'm kidding.
yeah, no, it's pretty
Economics
fun.
and business stuff.
No, 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 but in a fun way. Anyway, so
Uh,
that's in the works. That I'm really proud of that actually.
what's it called?
But
Oh, you're not allowed
I
to
don't know
say
yet.
it.
I don't know yet. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
what the go is with because he hasn't announced it, so I don't
Oh,
think
okay.
I
No, fair
can.
enough. Keep it in.
So
Keep the
yeah,
powder
so
dry on that one.
keep an eye, yeah, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Oh, I'm doing it. I'll show you. I can show you here. This is probably. Well, hold on. What do I got here? Yeah. I'm doing a um. So there's this film about bears,
Hmm.
and I'm doing some of the. You know, in like films where they have like a new chapter or something in a documentary film. I'm
Yeah.
doing this sort of like little imagery. Look at
Oh,
that.
wow. Look
See,
at that.
I can actually draw quite well
You
if I put
can
my mind
draw. You
to
got chops. You got
it.
chops.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm sort of drawing these little, and these will be animated. Um,
Oh, wow. That's cool. What are they
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
animated on?
Well, I've animated them in Premiere, but it's just kind of, it's not so much animation as it is just a series of images that kind of flick
Yeah.
through and change as they go. So that's fun.
I feel like
And do you know what? That's about it at the moment. Well,
that's pretty cool.
everything that's interesting anyway. So you guys are just looking at a blank thing here. Need
No,
to.
it's all right. I'm gonna flip back. I'm gonna flip the camera back. This is my
Oh,
that's
thank
your
God.
that's
So,
your book title.
oh,
That's your working book title.
it's so, by the way,
um,
it's so hot here, by the way. I'm sweating my ass.
yeah, I was gonna say, what's the I was trying to figure out because I don't know. Like nothing makes sense anymore. There's
Yeah.
it's been raining and cold here, and now it's sweaty and hot. Like, are you getting the same ridiculous ballistic just shifts in weather over there that we are here? Because it's
Look,
pretty bad here.
it's not too bad. I mean, oh, New York's horrible. I remember that. Like,
Awful.
there's like 2 weeks
Hmm.
sort of in
It's
between
one now.
summer and
It's down to
winter
one
and
week.
winter and summer. Okay. And it was like, that's like the 2 weeks that's nice. And then you're either freezing your ass off or just like you
Yep.
walk outside and you're already sweating. You're like, and
Yep. Exactly. It's
and
the
here,
worst.
like the UK is kind of weird because it's like 26 degrees and you're like, that's fine by Australian standards. But there's something wrong about this country. It's like it's so much worse. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm just sweating my ass off. But that's all right.
Well, I'm glad.
So
I'm glad that you've sweated your ass off while drawing pictures. That's the
yeah.
you're the most athletic cartoonist I know.
Do you know what I did? I was at a wedding in Bali years and years ago, and I like just
Hmm.
back when I was drawing on paper, I was like, oh, I'll like do some of my work, while
Yeah.
at the villa.
Sure.
And as I'm drawing away, I don't know, it's not bad. Like drops of sweat are just coming down and hitting the page and like smudging everything. I'm like, I can't work in a humid country.
You
Like,
can't. It's a hazard unless you're
no,
doing watercolors.
yeah, right.
It's the only exception. I did the same. I remember going to Bali for a wedding in Uluwatu,
Oh yeah.
and I was drawing caricatures of people. I was drawing like pictures of people,
Oh,
and
nice.
my hand was smudging. I was using this pen, a Tombow, like an
Oh
N15,
yeah.
one of these like brush pens, and it kept my hand was so sweaty that it was just like black on this
Uh,
because it was just smudging everywhere because it was just humid and sweaty and like I mean it was it was a beautiful wedding, ugly drawings.
I arrived to that wedding and I'd sweated completely through a white shirt, to the point where people were concerned. Like there was
Yeah.
genuine concern that I might be sort of quite ill.
Yeah, like you were having a small heart attack.
Yeah.
By the way, this is Morris. I wanted to just
Alright.
introduce you to my little goblin boy. He's been sleeping here and farting the whole time. But yeah, he's my studio assistant. He does nothing. Yeah.
My girlfriend
Well,
George
we're
has a
almost to
cat
the hour. So
somewhere.
I wanted, sorry?
My girlfriend George has a cat called Goose, and look,
Goose.
I've been trying to make friends with Goose for 2 years, and we've just got to the point where I can walk past her in the corridor and she doesn't run away. So progress.
Nice. You're like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Eventually you're going to be You'll be best friends soon. That's great. So, where can people find you? I know. So you have your Substack and you have your Instagram. You prefer people. I mean, everyone watching, is
Yeah,
reading
yeah, yeah.
Substack. So, what's your
Look,
Substack?
all right. What's it called? Oh, Outline.
You're so good at
Yeah, yeah.
promo. It's amazing.
Well, no, no, no. I've been very lazy with it. Absolutely follow it. Don't pay for it yet. Um, pay for it once I start actually putting some effort into it. But yeah, it's all
Yeah.
free. Everything's free for now. And I need to start giving it a bit more effort. But outside of that, there's Insta Chaz with two A's and Chaz on Instagram. That gets a bit more attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my website's chazhutton.com, which, as I was saying earlier,
ChazHutton.com.
I've only just finally set up a proper website, put everything in one place, which is good. You know, after 10
Yeah.
years of doing this, thought it was probably time. Yeah.
Probably.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's cool. I know you have a store as well. I bought some stuff off your store, so people should go to your store.
Oh,
There's some really
yeah.
good
I think
stuff. There's framed
There's a link in
art
the
and
shop. No, there's a link
yeah,
on the site.
on the
I
side.
forget the name of the shop.
Yeah.
There's
You
too many
came up
things.
with
I know.
it.
I used to have a shop called Prince to Chaz, which was great.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
but then
I do remember that. Yeah, yeah.
that was just a threadless store, and so now I've got
Yeah.
a proper one. Although I need to, yeah. Anyway, I'm doing around
It's
a
on the
jigsaw
list.
puzzle. I'm doing some of the jigsaw puzzle soon, so that's good.
Ah, good. That
Yeah,
jigsaw puzzle bit is great. That's a great game. I like it.
I'm trying to do another one and like similar
Mm.
wordplay, and I think I might have just got lucky with that one because it's
No, it's
almost
real. I mean,
impossible.
yeah, it's one of those ones where you're like, oh my God, that's perfect. And then
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
wondering if you had more in
No,
that brain of yours.
not maxed out on the first one.
Perfect. Yep, you peaked. That's fine. Retire
Yeah.
now. Just retire now. Everyone will think you're a genius.
I just keep churning them out. People keep buying them. I'll keep making them. So I just do them in different colors. So,
Yeah, perfect. Great.
yeah.
Well, this has been really fun, man. I really,
Yeah,
really like
man.
talking to you. I'm glad we got to do this. Thank you to everyone in the chat, by the way. All the comments have been really nice about everything we're doing. Not one
Oh,
troll,
great.
which is wild.
Hey.
So thank you. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Chaz, for your time. And yeah, everyone go check out Insta Chaz, two A's, on Instagram. And yeah, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. I'm going to post who the guests are going to be on Sunday night, so keep an eye out. And Chaz, have a good rest of your day.
I will. Cheers.
Thanks again,
Thanks,
man.
everyone.
See ya.
Bye
Bye.
bye.